Hey, it's Chris Pre with another Deal Structure Sunday. As you probably know now, if you're following the channel at all, and if you're new, I'll tell you that on occasion we'll switch up. Instead of doing a deal with the 3 paydays, which we've trademarked, if you're new to this system, we've trademarked the 3 paydays in the US. On occasion we want to flip it and talk to you a little bit about concept or some stuff that's going on. I want to talk to you today very specifically about you not needing to be a landlord, especially during COVID and all the chaos. And I don't care if it's just COVID and in this video you're watching when it's past. I'm still gonna say there's plenty of reasons for you not to be a long-term landlord. Now, let me qualify some of this so we understand what my logic is here and how it can help you. We have many associates, many students come to us with existing portfolios. They might have 1 property, they might have 2 properties. So let's talk like nothing to do with COVID, just pre-COVID. They come to us, they say, I had one student in particular that had 3 properties actually. They were all being redone. Why were they all being redone? Because the tenants trashed him and he was totally bummed out. He got new into our community. He's like, can you help me over here in these 3 properties? I know your mission is to help us find new deals. We're gonna do that, but can you help me here? Now, we don't fix up when we buy properties on terms. Even if they're trash, we don't fix them up. What we do alternatively is we apply our rent-to-own model on the same exact properties. There's plenty of examples of live deals showing you the math here on the Deal Structure Sunday releases where us or our students bought a property in disrepair. As long as it's habitable, they can go ahead and turn that around and get a handy person in there. There's so many contractors, pre-COVID and now more with COVID, who can't get a conventional loan. They love these properties. You don't have to spend a dime on them. That's number one, as far as trying to be a landlord and fix up and turn these properties over again. Secondly, never, ever, ever, ever again worrying about trying to fix up a trash building, trying to maintain the building. It's just not necessary. And then during COVID, you had to deal with a bunch of tenants who probably took advantage of what was going on. I'm not saying all did, but some did because we experienced it in some of our other portfolios. What is the deal? What is the difference between you being a landlord and you being an owner of a property where you have a tenant buyer in there? Even during COVID, because we only had 2 examples out of 50 or 60 properties that had to use the evictions being extended. They had to literally use that to their advantage because they were in a tough position. All the rest of them stayed paying. Why is that? Because they're not tenants. They're buyers. Yes, the tenancy law and the states protected them if they were just tenants. But the ones that were true buyers, 98% of ours, said, you know what, I got to keep paying this because regardless of COVID, when I come out of this, I have to show the bank that I paid and I had to show the bank that I put my right deposits down and I got to get financing. They don't want to lose their option on it because to get in the property, they all put a down payment down. So again, there's 0 reason for you to be out there being a landlord and dealing with those headaches. And I know coming screaming through every time we do a video like this is going to be those of you who are long-term buy and hold. That's great. We had a gentleman on our podcast last week that had 600 properties. He was a buy and hold investor. He's starting to convert a lot of them to rent to own. Let me explain this to you. There are many ways for you to take a portfolio. We call it wealth stacking. To take your portfolio after you've built it up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 10, 600 in this guy's case, properties, and then start to hand pick some of those properties that you convert from, say, a sandwich lease to a sub 2. Why do you do that? Because now you can take a tenant buyer and convert them to a long-term buyer. Now you have a buy and hold property with a buyer in it, not a buy and hold property with a tenant in it. Trust me, if you're new to this, it's night and day. And if you're a landlord and you suffered through some of this stuff now or in the past or with COVID, you will never again have to deal with that, with a tenant buyer in that property or a buyer who you want to finance. It's night and day. Not to mention, we can create 3 paydays. Guys, 3 paydays that for us ranges around $75,000. For our students all around North America, between $45,000 low and $250,000 and up high. Okay? Now, how many of those properties do you need? Let me put some math here. The gentleman who had 600 said, yeah, I had a goal once to get out of my job and I knew I could figure out the small passive income I had, and I had to put aside a little buffer for vacancy, and I had to put aside a little buffer for maintenance. And he said, as soon as I converted it, call wealth stacking, I call it, as soon as he started converting it like I'm suggesting you do, he started to see his expenses drop because they're not his expenses anymore. They're the buyer who's in the home. Renter, buyer, 2 different mentalities, 2 different behaviors. So how many of those properties do you need at $75,000 to $250,000 per property? How many of those do you need? Now those numbers are not counting if you go ahead and turn around and want to finance it. The numbers go through the roof on your paydays. So you can change so many of these deals to longer term deals. It's not, oh, I did a terms deal and I got to get out. It is incredibly powerful to be working your portfolio. If you don't do that, number one, you're leaving money on the table. Number two, you're going to forever invite headaches. And the simple way to do this is to go ahead and ask us how it's done. Schedule a free strategy call. Myself, my son-in-law Zach, or our strategy expert Brian O'Neill will jump on the phone with you. Just go to smartrealestatecoach.com/action. And if your knee-jerk reaction is, I can't do that, or that won't work for me, or that's not accurate, then you need a strategy call. smartrealestatecoach.com/action.